Mitsubishi Pajero Sport of the second generation, 2008-2016 years of release. Good day. If you are wondering is it worth buying a second generation Mitsubishi Pajero Sport and what problems you may encounter during operation, then you're at the right place. So in terms of the quality of the paintwork, the Pajero Sport is no different from other Japanese cars. The paintwork is traditionally weak, so it gets covered with chips and scratches even with careful use in urban conditions. Surprisingly, there are a number of questions about the corrosion resistance of the body. Many Pajero Sport owners noted with horror that after 4 or 5 years of car operation in our conditions, small bugs begin to appear on its body. First of all, they settle on the tailgate seals, the leading edge of the roof. Naturally, chrome body elements also suffer greatly from reagents. However, a similar problem is typical for all cars used in our country. At one point, when you need to replace the wheel, the mechanism that is responsible for lowering and raising the spare wheel will add a headache. If you do not use it for a long time, it gradually turns sour and begins to wedge. Mitsubishi Pajero Sport was originally conceived as a fairly affordable SUV, so you can't find expensive finishing materials inside it. Unfortunately, inexpensive hard plastic not only squeaks even on almost new cars, but also scratches quickly. There are not many electrical equipment in Pajero Sport, so it doesn't cause big problems. Owners of Pajero Sport equipped with 6 airbags mainly complain that the car's computer indicates errors in the system for no apparent reason. With a detailed study of the issue, it turns out that the whole point is in the control unit, the contacts of which turned out to be too weak. The airbag loop is considered quite problematic. The fact that its replacement will be required in the near future will be prompted by the characteristic crunch that is heard when the steering wheel is turned. Less serious troubles include a creaking boot located at the bottom of the steering column. It's enough to lubricate the boot. After that, the squeaks disappear. At first, for the second generation of Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, the two power units were offered, a 3.2-liter diesel, 160 horsepower, and a 3.0-liter gasoline, 220 horsepower. In 2010, the outdated diesel engine was replaced by a more modern unit of the DID series, which with a volume of 2.5 liters developed 178 horsepower. All Pajero Sport motors, regardless of the type of fuel consumed, are considered quite reliable, but they do not pretend to be eternal. The most common drawback of the 3.2-liter unit is the problematic turbocharger. Often it begins to make extraneous sounds and drive oil at very low runs. The crankshaft pulley is also considered a weak point. Its rubber layer exfoliates quickly. Worst of all, those owners who do not know how to diagnose this problem in time may well face abrasion of the engine frontal head. In the worst case, this can end up with a through hole through which the engine oil will begin to flow out. The cost of solving the problem is about 70–80,000 rubles. As for the service life of the chain drive of the gas distribution mechanism, it can reach 300,000 kilometers. The 2.5-liter diesel engine uses a timing belt drive. Official documents recommend replacing the belt every 90,000 kilometers, but even the mechanics of Mitsubishi branded service centers recommend reducing the replacement interval to 60–70,000 kilometers. By this mileage, the first signs of wear appear on the balance shaft belt. The disadvantage of a 2.5-liter engine is the short service life of the crankshaft rear oil seal. In the best case, it will last 60–70,000 kilometers. The owners of Mitsubishi Pajero Sport also complain about the increased noise during the operation of the viscous coupling of the cooling system fan. With the onset of cold weather, the noise turns into a whistle. Fortunately, this is nothing more than a design feature that you just need to get used to. At the same time, you will have to get used to the fact that a 2.5-liter engine is prone to overheating. Not surprisingly, especially caring owners install an additional cooling fan on their own. They also scrupulously make sure that the radiator of the cooling system is cleaned with each maintenance. The problem of the appearance of cracks in the cylinder head or a cylinder block itself is known to the owners of Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, but it doesn't carry a mass character. Most cracks appear after the motor has been overheated. Oil leaks from under the gasket between the head and the block are noticeably more widespread. To one degree or another, leaks are found on all cars with a mileage of more than 150,000 kilometers. Problems with the fuel system, which doesn't tolerate low-quality diesel fuel, start even earlier, usually after the mark of 100–120,000 kilometers. Moreover, this is true both for the new 2.5 DID engine and for the noticeably simpler 3.2-liter diesel unit. In general, the gasoline 3-liter engine may be considered the most problem-free, but Pajero Sport buyers do not particularly like it anyway, and the real SUV is much more suitable for an economical and high-torque diesel engines at low revs. The gasoline unit is characterized by a problem with the intake manifold. There are no mass complaints about this yet, but if the collector still needs to be changed, then the family budget will easily become empty by 80–90,000 rubles. The gas distribution mechanism of a gasoline engine uses a belt drive, which must be updated every 60,000 kilometers. The rollers change along with the belt. Of the transmissions, the mechanics proved to be the best, which was offered for versions with engines of 2.5 and 3.2 liters. Under moderate loads, the clutch in the mechanical box serves 100–120,000 kilometers. If you often travel on medium gravity off-road, the clutch will last much less, about 60,000 kilometers. A 4-speed automatic which worked in tandem with a 3.2-liter engine has also proven itself quite well. There are more problems with the modern 5-speed automatic transmission. Quite often it annoys with failures in the electronic control unit. The solution to the problem is simple: just refresh the ECU in the official service. Another serious drawback is not the most efficient cooling of the automatic transmission. It's not surprising that during long-term operation under heavy load, the machine overheats. Overheating the transmission goes into emergency operation, after which it's possible to move forward only in second gear. Trying to somehow deal with transmission overheating, the owners of Mitsubishi Pajero Sport install another transmission cooling radiator. Interestingly, the solution to one problem can provoke another. In severe frosts, the cooling of the box can be so strong that it will lead to hypothermia of the working fluid. In order for the Pajero Sport all-wheel drive system to work reliably for a long time and not cause problems, it must be used regularly. Otherwise, the mechanism begins to sour, which is why, over time, the inclusion of many modes becomes difficult. To extend the service life of the all-wheel drive system, extrusion of the joints of the propeller shafts helps. The weak point of the Pajero Sport of the first years of production is the coupling shaft of the front axle shaft located on the right. It's afraid of prolonged slippage. The Mitsubishi Pajero Sport suspension is very strong. At moderate loads up to a mileage of 120,000 kilometers, it practically doesn't require attention to itself. By the mark of 100,000 kilometers, many owners notice that the car begins to roll slightly to the left side. There is no need to worry about this. This is the characteristic of the mass distribution in this model. The steering cannot boast of the same reliability. Often the steering rack starts stepping after a run of 50,000 kilometers. The steering column can also make unpleasant knocks. Often masters suggest replacing the steering column with a new one, but you should not rush to do this. No one can guarantee that the new steering column will not start knocking after the same 20,000 kilometers. It's very rare on Pajero Sport that the steering wheel refuses to rotate. This is due to the biting of the steering shaft hinge. Typically, an impending problem can be diagnosed early when small steering turns require more effort. If you are the owner, then be sure to leave a comment about this car. Your review will definitely help others with the choice of a car.